Welcome to the CrossFit Max podcast.
What is going on, team? First things first, I hope you're having a fantastic day, and I appreciate each and every one of you who have clicked onto this episode. If you get some good value, please make sure you give us a rating and a review on whatever platform you are listening to, and we hope you dig this episode. All right, enough intro. Let's get right to it. All right. Well, 3, 2, 1. We're in it. Let's go.
Win it.
Welcome back, everyone, to another episode of this amazing podcast with Susie and Brandon.
Hi, everybody.
We are feeling the stress of our event this weekend.
Correction. Brandon is feeling the stress of our event this weekend.
I'm so excited for this weekend. Saturday, we have an epic, the biggest event being hosted at CrossFit Max ever. We have our Max Fit course, the ultimate team race, teams of 3 going through our course that we've set out. We're 29 teams signed up.
We're sold out.
29 teams of 3 people. That makes it 87 athletes that are going to be racing. We have 15-ish volunteers. We have 7 sponsors. People are going to bring some fans, some friends, family, partners.
I can see your eyes twitching and the sweat dripping down your face as you say all of these things.
Normally, I don't get stressed for these types of events. I just get really excited. But because this is such like a time-coordinated event.
Yeah, there's a lot of coordination that goes into this event.
Yeah, and also you're relying on people and volunteers and
one person doesn't show up and it sets off a chain reaction.
Oh yeah, if one person doesn't show up. Oof.
But I have faith in our community. Our members have never let us down before.
Yeah.
Ever.
Yeah, it's going to be a really epic event. I'm so excited. There's so many teams from outside of CrossFit Max that are going to be participating. There's some really cool sponsors. We got Babes Motion Wear, who's going to be doing like a little pop-up sale.
Oh my God, I can't wait to look at things that I can wear once I'm not pregnant.
We have Pigeon Cafe bringing in coffee. We have La Brasse Brewery giving out beers. We have Paul, who's going to be giving massages, like post-workout.
Shop
Santé is going to be giving out a bunch of free supplements. And they're also going to be giving out some things to the podium winners. We got your mom.
Melanie Miller Tupperware.
Mama Miller giving out some water bottles. She's donating 10 water bottles. We're just going to draw it.
At random.
At random. Also, Babes Motionwear is giving out 3 gift cards of $25. So we're going to be drawing that out. Yeah, it's just like a lot of really cool things. And I am also going to be participating in the race.
Yes,
with my
I will not.
2 teammates, Daphne and Jenna, which I can't wait to throw down with them.
Brandon and the teenage girls.
Oh, yeah, the generational baddies. That's our name. Make sure you know it. Yeah, so we just got like a huge weekend ahead of us.
And it's also really important weekend.
Yeah, because Friday
is my birthday.
Is your 29th birthday.
Brandon has been getting it wrong all week. Yeah. I'm turning 29 on Friday.
Yep. Which
doesn't really feel like my birthday this year.
Yeah, it's because there's just so many other things going on, baby.
So many other more important things happening. And like 29 is not that cool of a birthday.
No, it's not.
I expect you to roll out the red carpet for me next year.
Yeah. I mean, what did I do for my 30th birthday? 30th is kind of cool. I don't think I did like anything that crazy for my 30th. Did I do anything crazy? No. I think we just chilled. We went out. We had some fun with some friends. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, a lot of big things coming up this weekend. And last weekend, we had a lot of our athletes participate in the CrossFit Games quarterfinals.
Hell yes, we did.
So we had them go through the Open, like everybody did, over a month ago now.
Yeah.
Actually,
that means they finished in the top 25% of the athletes worldwide or athletes in Canada?
Technically in North America East.
In North America East, okay.
Which is the region, one of the 7 regions. So they went into quarterfinals this weekend. We had Coach Amanda. We had
You?
myself. Yeah, I was going to put me last. We had Justin, Matt, and Jen. Yeah, and I think we also had technically Max who was signed up, but Max is an accountant, and at this time
we don't
of the
see
year,
him in
he just
April.
turns into a ghost. Like, don't see him for about a month and then maybe about 6-week period where he finishes the open.
Taxes
and just goes,
are due by the end of April, right?
Yeah.
Like he should be like a free man soon.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. So end of April, he'll be back. But yeah, so those athletes went through it. They released 4 workouts we had to do over the 5 days, I think it was. They released it Wednesday, and we had to finish the first 2 by Saturday night, and then we had to finish the 3rd and 4th one by Monday night.
Very cool.
And I had zero intention on doing the quarterfinals this year.
Why?
I just had no intention of doing
your
it.
Your focus was elsewhere.
Yeah, my focus is on this race and this baby and this business and like so many other things. And to me, like,
life is like, I feel like we're a bit in a season where we feel like we're drowning a little bit.
Yeah, well, I don't feel like we're drowning. I think we're filled with a bunch of fun things. We're just preoccupied.
Big things.
To me, like the open was finished and then I had moved on. Like the chapter was closed. I was excited for that. And then I've really put a lot of effort into this race. And so I just thought I wasn't going to do it. I was like, oh, the quarterfinals will come. It'll be cool to see like what they release and blah, blah, blah. And then I didn't realize, this is terrible on me, I didn't realize that there was like Jen and Matt had hit the quarterfinals, the top 25%. I honestly thought it was just like Amanda, Justin, and myself. So I didn't really anticipate myself doing it. But then I realized there was actually like a couple of our members who were going to do it. So I said, screw it. I'll join. And that was on Friday morning. I decided that I woke up and I said, okay, I'll just do them. And then I proceeded to
Actually, I'm pretty sure this is how the story really goes, guys. Thursday night, we're going to bed and Brandon's like, nah, I'm not doing the quarterfinals. I'm like, okay, babe, like whatever, like do whatever makes you happy.
Not doing it.
No pressure. Like life is good. CrossFit's supposed to be fun. We go to bed. We wake up on Friday morning. He's like, I'm doing quarterfinals. I dreamt about it all night.
Yep.
I was like, okay, and the tables have turned.
Yeah. And I did actually enjoy the workouts that they put out. I thought, so in previous years, they've had, this is now technically, I think, the 4th quarterfinals. Before it was just open straight into a semifinals. Then they introduced the quarterfinals where
it was top 10%.
They used to take the top 10%. Which I made one year, and I haven't made it the last 2 years. And then they made it the top 25% this year, which I don't think they should take the 25%.
No.
I think they should. I like the fact that they opened it more. I think they should take the top 20%. And why do you say this, Brandon? Why not 25%? Because
Tell us.
I feel like you shouldn't. A 75% in school is like a meh grade. You know, like honor roll is 80% plus. My opinion
is the quarterfinals should be for honor roll athletes
exactly.
only.
Like an 80%, like that's something to be pumped up about. I feel like if you're like 75 to 79%.
Everybody who is between 75 and 80% right now is feeling literally attacked.
You know, it is what
Brandon
it is.
Doesn't think you're worth it.
I don't make the rules, but
I'm just kidding.
I do feel like it should just, they should have doubled it. I do like the fact that it went from 10% and they opened it to more people.
Yeah, more people is good.
But I feel like they open it for too many people.
Like you want it to still be exclusive.
Yes, somewhat exclusive.
And 25% feels a little too inclusive.
Yes.
For your taste.
Yes, exactly.
For what it is. Because the open is designed for the inclusivity factor.
Yes.
The quarterfinals is where we start to weed out the casual athletes from the competitive athletes.
Exactly. The quarterfinals is a direct funnel into the semifinals where there's 7 semifinals in the world. 7 or 6, I can't freaking remember. But anyways, there's not many of them.
If I wasn't pregnant, though, I would have been one of those people between like 75 and 80.
Maybe.
And I would be feeling attacked by you right now.
Yes, yeah.
I feel like I'm like a top 25%er, but like not a top 20%er. That's kind of where my CrossFit skills lie.
Which is a big difference. It is a big difference between that 20, that 70, like if you're in the 70.
Next year's going to be my comeback year, baby.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, anyways, that being said, like the open is meant for everybody, and I think they did a great job. We've already
Fantastic.
discussed this in a previous
At length.
podcast. And then the quarterfinals, I do like the fact that they did make it still relatively inclusive. The first workout had rowing.
It was such a cool workout because it had snatches.
Snatches to start at 135 for the boys and 85 for the ladies, which, you know, if you're making that top 25% in the world, then you should be able to snatch that. And then it had rowing, and then it had dumbbell box step-ups, which pretty much everyone can do. And then the second workout was...
That was cool because it was an EMOM.
Yeah, it was an EMOM, yeah. And then the second workout had probably one of the most disgusting workouts ever. It was wall balls and lateral burpees over the box, and it was 3 rounds for time of 50 and 50. I got through 2 rounds. And the third workout...
2 rounds plus 1?
Plus 1, yeah. Oh, my goodness, yeah. The third one was really a gymnastics separator. And just because we don't have any ropes in here, it was handstand push-ups and toes to bar, then strict handstand push-ups and rope climbs, and then wall-facing handstand push-ups, and then ring muscle-ups.
Yeah.
So I pretty much just got to the point where there was ropes, and I just stopped.
Called it quits.
Called it. And then the fourth workout was a clean and jerk ladder, where you had to do 10 clean and jerks at a light, let's call it a light-ish weight. Then you added weight, and then you had a moderate weight, another 10 clean and jerks. Then you had another 10 clean and jerks at a heavy weight. And then in the remainder of the 10-minute time frame, you had to do max reps at a pretty heavy weight. So it did make it inclusive for the people in the top 25% there, but I do like the fact that they had some sort of separation. Like if you were really good at CrossFit and you were going to be a semifinals athlete, like you were going to see some big separations in terms of the scores compared to other people.
So then how do they select the people who go to semifinals?
Yeah, the top 50, I think it's top 50 people in each semifinal region. So the top 50 people, so they take all of the scores of the quarterfinals.
Okay, gotcha.
And they take the top 50 people in North America East, let's say, and put them in the semifinals. That's an in-person event. That's a big in-person. They do it in an arena.
Yeah,
and they have workouts.
Cool.
It's a 1-weekend thing.
Love it.
And they do it North America East, North America West. They have Asia. They have the Oceanic region. They have the European region. And yeah, and then it goes from semifinals into the CrossFit Games.
Sick.
But yeah, overall, I thought the workouts were well programmed. I think it was fun. I didn't want to do it. Then Friday I said, screw it, I'm doing it.
And then you did 3 workouts
and then
back to back to back.
workout 1, 2, and 4, like back to back to back within like an hour and, I don't know, 15-minute time frame.
You literally just went like 0 to 60.
I told myself, I was like, you know what, I'm going to do them, and I'm just going to put up a score. I'm not going to really care about the performance side of things. I'm just going to do it. Okay. I did tweak my back a little bit, which was no fun on the fourth one, on the heavy clean, which was really unlike me because clean and jerks are my jam.
Yeah, that workout was for you, babe.
Especially the heavier ones. So I just felt a little pull in my upper back, which is pretty rare. And then I did the last workout, the third workout, yesterday, and completed it, submitted my score, and I said, all right, now the chapter is officially closed, and I don't have to worry about this anymore.
Yes.
Yeah, it was good. And shout out to all the athletes who got out of their comfort zone. Jen, Matt, Justin, Amanda. They all did it. They all gave it their all. They all had fun with it. Some of them went to different gyms to be able to do the rope climb and everything, which thank you to CrossFit YUL for hosting some of the athletes.
Yeah, really nice of them. And good people.
And yeah, so quarterfinals is over. That's it.
Bye.
That's a wrap. The CrossFit Games season for all of the CrossFit Max athletes is now complete. Yeah. And yeah.
We don't have any top 50 people.
We do not have any top 50 people.
Yet.
Yeah, not yet. But yeah, so it was a cool weekend. Anyways, let's get into our topic for today. That was a long, extended banter topic.
Classic us. We're so long-winded.
We are talking more on the
coaching
business side of things. Yeah, less about the business, more about the behind the scenes. We're talking about coaching and what it kind of takes to be a CrossFit coach. So a little bit of a different topic for our listeners. Hopefully you guys will just gain some value, maybe just understanding what we go through and what our process is like. And then for others who are here because they saw the title, hopefully maybe you guys are thinking about becoming a CrossFit coach one day, and we will hopefully give you guys some good information and you guys get some good nuggets out of today.
I love it. Chicken nuggets.
So I became a class. I don't even know what to say to that.
You're like, shut up.
Chicken nuggets. So random.
It's my pregnancy brain.
Yeah. Let's just say there's so many coaches or so many people listening that now just want to become a coach now.
They're like, oh, that's it.
Yeah.
These are my people.
I guess what I could do is I could give a quick background on my coaching career, on how I became a coach, what kind of got me into it. Susie?
I feel like we've talked about that a couple of times on the podcast, so you could give the Cliff Notes version.
Yeah, exactly. So essentially when I started CrossFit, I really, really loved it. I loved the community.
Yeah.
I loved being coach. I played sports my whole life, so I always had a coach for my team. And so I found CrossFit. I was like, oh, wow, this is really cool. I'm doing this gym thing, this fitness thing, but I'm also being coached at the same time, and someone is overlooking my movements and trying to help guide me in the best way possible. And they're trying to improve my performance and blah, blah, blah. So I decided to start coaching. I didn't really know what I was doing in life. I was going to university. Really, really did not like university. I was in economics, and that sucked. And then I really liked this CrossFit thing and decided to go into some coaching. And then I did a couple internships, some shadowing, and eventually got a job offer at a CrossFit gym and started coaching underneath the wings of some of the coaches there, mainly one of our members here, Coach LPZ. So
gotta love him.
So he
the OG.
He helped teach me a lot. I look at him as definitely a mentor throughout that entire process, and still to this day I still like to bounce a lot of ideas. I feel like I've been helping him a lot recently on his social media stuff.
You guys make a great team.
But so learned a lot under a bunch of awesome mentors along the way.
Yep.
And tried to act as much of a sponge as possible to learn as many things.
I think that's literally one of your greatest qualities is that you are like a really curious person, and you really listen. Like, I feel like you're one of those people who doesn't pretend to like know what they're talking about, and you always ask good questions. And like, that's one of the things that my parents always say that they really love about you is that like, you're always asking like deeper questions and listening deeply to people's answers. And I think so many people in today's world kind of have this like fake it till you make it thing, whereas you're like, if I don't know something, I'm curious and I want to learn it, and that's how you get to be so good.
Thanks, love. Hear that, guys? Parents love me.
And my parents love you. It's so annoying.
Mama and Papa Miller love me, but
well, actually,
I do
it's
love
great for me
bit.
because they love me more now because of you. So, thanks, Brandon.
Yeah,
I'm up in the ranks in the Miller family thanks to you.
What can I say, babe? The things I do for you, but they're pretty awesome.
Yeah, they're the best.
And Jesus, lost train of thought because
you want to be a sponge.
Oh, yeah, exactly. Yeah.
That's how we got there.
It turns out I wasn't listening properly there. Like I got all flustered.
He's like, oh, I'm blushing. My wife loves me.
So throughout the years, I acted like a sponge. I did not go to school for this at all. I just love sports. I did the certificates that I had to do in order to be a CrossFit coach.
Certified, yeah.
So I got like my CrossFit level 1 trainer. I got my CrossFit weightlifting cert.
Very cool.
Which I think helped a lot because Olympic weightlifting is something that is on the more complex, higher skill stuff. So it gave me a much more bigger boost in confidence on how to teach it. Eventually, I got my CrossFit level 2, which is a phenomenal course. I would highly recommend any coach that goes into the level 1 take a good year or even 2 years of like coaching. Actually coaching people before you go and do the level 2. But you'll come out of that level 2 knowing so much more about actually like hands-on coaching. And I also did my precision nutrition level 1 course. So those were kind of the things that I felt were important. I obviously didn't do them all at one time. I gained a lot of knowledge throughout the years,
Right.
and I was able to actually coach a lot of different people.
And I also think like something that goes along with this is that you've spent like billions of hours
1
on
trillion.
billions and billions of hours on YouTube and on videos, watching other people's coaching cues or like investigating in specific like CrossFit topics.
Yeah. I feel like social media is really underrated for gathering knowledge on coaching.
Yeah, you just have to make sure you're looking at the right stuff.
I think in terms of using social media for, let's say, lifestyle or nutrition, it could start to get a little bit hairy. Yeah. Start to get a little bit more confusing. This person's saying eat this person's saying don't eat this person's saying avoid this at all costs, and this other person is saying follow this diet, you know. So
there's some big opinions on social media.
Big opinions, and usually when there's big opinions, there's big followings, and you have to learn how to kind of maneuver around that stuff. But in terms of like coaching movements, I don't think there's a lot of things that are off that much on social media. Yeah. I feel like you can actually gain a lot of knowledge from experts in terms of like, how should I be teaching a kipping pull-up? How should I be teaching a deadlift? You know, there's some
movement mechanics.
Yeah, so there's a lot of free education that you can get online. And the things that you don't like as you're coaching, you can just not use. You know, you're like, hey, this person taught it this way, but I wasn't a huge fan of how they taught it in that video, but I did like that they said this and this. So I'm going to kind of take that one thing out of that video that I really liked and apply it. And yeah, so I, like Susie said, I acquired a lot of knowledge through outside sources as well. And I didn't just do the certificates that I had to do and then just say like, all right, like I'm good enough right now. It's still like an ongoing learning curve. And even to this day, I probably spend a lot less hours focusing on coaching knowledge because now we're running the business, and now I try to gain a lot more time on the business side of things.
And also I think you're doing a lot more now, like mentoring, like you're doing a lot of coaching development with the rest of our team, like myself and Maria and Amanda.
Yeah, which has been a completely different role, and
you still learn a lot by teaching other people.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I had a really good conversation with Coach Maria last night because Maria and I have been like co-coaching classes. Yeah. So we've been assisting each other, and I've tried to take a step back and let her coach the class and then try to give her some feedback throughout. And it was really cool because she got to coach one of the classes, and then I was able to give her some feedback on it. And then she went to the second class after that she coached, and she applied some of that feedback. It was cool just to see her take that stuff and apply it. Yeah, and be like conscious of like what was happening. And it was cool from my perspective to sit back and see that. But anyways, that's kind of going off the trails here. We're talking about coaching specifically here, but I thought that was really cool to see. But yeah, so that's kind of like that was super quick, but kind of a background of like where my coaching has gone throughout these last maybe almost decade of coaching athletes and stuff. And then so some of the things that maybe, Suze, you could start with here, maybe you can go with this, but you've been coaching now for how many months now? You've been teaching yoga for like how long?
5 years.
Yeah, for several years. But how long have you been coaching CrossFit for?
Over a year now.
What are like one or two things that you think are super important as a coach, or something that you've kind of taken from maybe yoga that you thought was important and you've applied it to your CrossFit coaching?
I think probably one of the most important things there's a lot of important things.
So many important things, but I'm just...
But something, I'll just talk about a couple points and we can just build off each other here.
Yes.
But a couple of things that come to mind that I have learned as being like a yoga teacher and a CrossFit coach as being important, but also as participating in group classes as important is, as the coach, you are responsible for bringing the energy to the class. So like, you know, making sure that you are full of beans and smiley and just like really friendly, greeting people, like those little things.
Love that. Makes
such a big difference, like greeting everybody by name, making sure you're making eye contact with people when you're talking to them. You know, you don't require 10 years of coaching experience. You can do that day one and you will command the class's attention by doing so. So I think just like general presence and energy is like super important.
I think that's actually one of the most important pieces.
Because I think the other things you can learn.
Yeah. You could be a master at coaching the deadlift. Let's say you could be so freaking good. You could be the best teacher in the world. But if someone walks into the gym and you don't greet them, you've already lost them.
Leaning into that like completing my thought on that is that people are not necessarily going to remember everything that they do in a workout, but they're going to remember how you made them feel.
Yeah.
And so I think that making sure you are making people feel good is really important.
Yeah, for sure. I think that's even like, I would say that that's definitely up there for one of the most important things, because regardless of if you struggle with coaching movements or
because sometimes people ask me questions about a movement and I'm like, you know what? I actually don't know the answer to that question. That's a really good question. Let me like find out for you. And they're not looking at me like, you big loser, you don't know that. Yeah. Like, it's not a big deal because they know that I care about them.
Exactly.
And that's so much more important to my, like, on my opinion.
Yeah. Well, those things I think it's really important to distinguish. They're two different things. Number one is like presence and like energy in the class, right? Yeah. Bring in some good vibes to the gym, like greeting people when you walk in and stuff like that. Like so important. That's really important. The second thing is, which I think is by far the most important out of anything you'll learn from a book or from a video that you've watched or from any course that you've taken, is caring for people.
Caring, yeah.
It's a job that requires you to truly care about people, and
you can't fake caring about people.
You absolutely cannot fake it. You can love teaching movement, but at the end of the day, there's going to be at one point someone struggles with understanding your cues, struggles within a workout, whether their heart rate's at 160 and they're like, I'm dying.
Literally.
And there's no like coaching cue you can give for this person right now. It's literally like you have to be there for them, you have to support them.
Yeah, hold space, make them feel safe.
Exactly. So there's two different things, like the energy and the vibe of the class is something that you can bring, and you don't even need to read a book to be good at doing that. Get the music up in the class, greet people when they walk in, give them a high five in between workouts, tell them good job, all those like good things.
Yeah.
And then the other thing is just truly like you have to be someone who cares about people, because exercising, and especially CrossFit, when you're pushing your limits and like you're getting vulnerable, you're getting to points where you might be failing a lift, or you might just had a freaking bad day at work or life, and then you come to the gym, and sometimes people bring that with them because life is hard sometimes, and you got to be there to just help support them and stuff. So for sure, the vibes and the caring for people, by far, way more important than anything. I think our general
approach as business owners too is like we expect everybody who's on our team in any capacity to have those two things. And all the other things are less important. If you bring the energy and you give a shit, then if you call the movement by a wrong name, or you accidentally forget to explain one part of the workout, super forgivable.
Yep.
Another really important thing, though, is more on the technical side of coaching, I think, is you really have to have like a full plan about what is the goal of your session. I think that's like when you're talking about running an effective group class, you need to have what is the purpose of today?
Yeah.
What do I want to get out of my athletes? Because until you have a clear vision for what you want people to achieve, then just explaining movements on a whiteboard is not going to be an effective workout, and people are going to get very different things from it if you don't assign like a general goal.
We call that a class plan.
Class plan.
Yeah. So having just a general class plan for like what you want out of the 60-minute session with those athletes, which now we're diving into the coaching stuff, which is all the fun stuff. But
yeah, well, I think because the other things are what's going to make you, I think, successful as a coach. And then these are the things that are going to serve you in your technical job of coaching.
Absolutely, yeah. I think I just, before we get into the coaching side, which I'm excited about, I want to just finish up the two first things that you said, is that I think a lot of people, when they get into this industry, is they think that they're going to be like, you know, fitness trainers or CrossFit coaches or health coaches, and they think that they're just going to teach people and tell people what they're going to be doing in terms of like movement and stuff.
Right.
But really, that's something that is not spoken about it enough, is that you're in the service industry. Like you are
100%.
We are in the industry of helping serve people, like you said,
taking care
like
of people. Yeah,
we're taking care of people, we're greeting people and all that stuff. So that is, to me, the most important thing, is like making sure that the client experience and is the most important.
And the client experience starts the second they open their Wodify app at home.
Yeah.
It isn't just the 60 minutes that they're in your group class. It's the minute they walk into the gym, the minute the workout is done, how do they feel after?
Yeah.
It's taking time to get to know people. Like, it's so much more than those 60 minutes.
Yeah.
And I think that's what separates like a CrossFit gym, where for sure the memberships are way more expensive and way more, they require you to really commit to them than like going to like an Econo Fitness or a BuzzFit. But at those places, you don't get any of those things.
Nope.
You don't get any.
Get a welcome.
You get a random guy every time, a different person telling you like, did you bring your towel?
Yeah.
You know?
Good voice. Yeah. So the client experience is the most important part. And then when we get into like the coaching side of things, yes, for sure, the class plan is really important, or else you're going in blind and it's going to be really hard to kind of make things up on the spot. And I did a little, I'll confess to you guys.
Oh, Saturday.
I said a little confession to Susie. It's that on last Saturday, I guess like now I'm pretty advanced into this industry now. Now I've got almost a decade of coaching experience.
Yes, you got quite a lot of experience under your belt.
So like on Saturday, I completely forgot to write a warm up for the group.
Right.
I had like the workout written on the board, and then I show up at 8 a.m. and I do my workout, and then at 10 a.m. the group class comes in, and I literally, like, 21 people in front of me, talk to them about the entire workout, the entire whiteboard explanation, and then as I'm finishing my last couple words explaining to the group class, I'm thinking to myself, oh shit, I literally didn't plan a warm up for this group. So as I was finishing my last words, I was thinking very, very quickly, and then instantly was able to come up with a warm up on the spot. And I'm almost certain that not a single person of the 21 athletes knew that I didn't have a warm up plan for them.
You were coming up with it as it was
because
exiting your mouth.
I literally was thinking, what am I going to do? Okay, all right, guys, we're going to do 3 rounds of 3 burpees, 3 push-ups, 3 squats, all synchro with all 3 people, your teammates, and we're going to repeat that for 3 times, you know? And I was like, all right. And then, anyway, so it was kind of funny. But if you do that and you're new, you're
fumbling.
You're in
stumbling.
a decent
You've
amount
lost.
of trouble. Yeah.
No one has respect for you anymore. They're confused.
They're confused. You're in a bit of trouble, especially
you're sweating. Your face is turning red. You're getting blotchy.
Especially if there's that many people in front of you. Like
Yeah.
Saturdays are our big team community workouts.
Yeah.
So coming up with a class plan so that doesn't happen is super important. And then from there, like Susie said, understanding you've created this class plan, but also knowing what is the workout, what do I want to get out of my athletes, and having some sort of objective throughout this session is super important, because anybody could read off of a whiteboard. Anybody could read off of a TV screen, like whatever the workout is. All right, guys, today we're going to do 3 rounds of 10 this, 10 that, 10 this.
Yeah.
We're going to do this. We're going to repeat this. Like
Is
that's
it supposed to be easy? Is it
yeah,
supposed to be hard?
that
Is it supposed
shit-
to go fast?
that shit
slow?
is boring, and anyone can do this. I could take someone off the street that's going to read the whiteboard to these group of people, and anyone could do that. What is going to differentiate a coach from someone who's simply just reading off the board here is giving people purpose, giving people objectives. What do you want to get out of them?
It's the stimulus.
Hey, should they be going heavy? Should they be going light? Do they have a lot of reps to do? Should they be moving quick? Should they be more of a grindy type workout? Do they need to be pushing the pace? You know, like there's a bunch of different things. Like, okay, we're working on the clean today. Okay, what are the things that I want them to work on the clean? There's 100 different things that they could work on a barbell clean.
Right.
But what are the 1 or 2 things that I want them to focus on? Okay, I want them to focus on foot position, and I want them to focus on keeping the bar close to their body. All right, so now that I have purpose in my training with this group class, what are the drills that I'm going to make them do, right? And then you plan out your entire session, you do your class plan with the warm-up being related to that, the drills related to that. All right, when I'm emphasizing my words to the group class, I want them to focus on footwork. I want them to focus on keeping the bar close to their body.
Right.
And you're just like reiterating that to the class, as opposed to, again, just like reading off the board to them. So those things are the difference of just reading off a board versus now you're actually like guiding this class throughout an entire thing. And I think another thing that's really important is, as we're talking about all this, is like you need to understand that you're the leader in this group. You're leading the way for all of these athletes. So if you don't have a class plan, if you don't have an objective or some things that you want to focus on with the group class, then the class itself, the clients in the class, are also going to be a little bit maybe confused. They're not really going to know where they're going. They're not really sure like what they should be doing.
Yeah, you can feel the energy in a group class that doesn't know what their purpose is.
Yeah.
Because everyone's kind of looking around. They're like asking questions that maybe seem irrelevant. Like it's very interesting.
Yeah.
You know, we've had the experience of like going to like other gyms and like going to other classes, and maybe we have like a different perspective or whatever, but you can feel when a coach doesn't have that leadership role.
Yeah. I mean, also I've been in this game for a while too, and it's happened to me. It still sometimes happens to me. Sometimes I'm like, oh shit, like I just coached this class. They're all like messing up on this movement, or they are all looking super confused, like maybe I didn't explain something right. And it happens from time to time,
for sure. And that's the fun part about coaching the next class, because you're like, okay, I'm gonna nail it on the next group.
Yeah.
Like if you do the 9 a.m. and then you do the noon, and 9 a.m. was like discombobulated, you're like, okay, whoops, I let those people down, but at noon I'm gonna kill it.
Yeah, well, that's gonna be my next point for sure, is making like corrections in between classes, and you got to be good at doing that.
Learning from mistakes.
But it's really important that you do understand that you are the leader of this crew. If you don't understand that, then the class will be a little bit all over the place, and you'll be probably correcting a lot of things throughout the entire time. Right?
Yeah, and if you catch yourself, I guess, as a coach running a group and realizing you're telling people a lot of the same stuff, like once they go off, and let's say they go off onto their stations, and then you're walking around and you're seeing people make a lot of the same mistakes, you're like, oh, I should have mentioned this in my explanation. And then you're kind of able to bring that into your next class and be like, you know, based on what I saw at 9 a.m., really want to emphasize in this noon class that we need to be focusing on keeping the bar close to our body, or whatever it is.
Exactly, yeah. Yeah. So you're the leader of this crew, so you need to you got to lead them.
Yeah.
They're expecting you to lead. They're not gonna just follow whatever you think is going on in your head. They need you to guide them through this session.
I think that to build off of the leader component is also like understanding that most people, this is their hour to switch their brain off.
Yeah.
And so as a coach, you need to be super clear, and you can't, because for you it's obvious because you've made a class plan. Like for you as the coach, it's obvious you've made a class plan. You've thought about it. You've maybe already executed it once or twice in the day up until now. And you're in front of a group. And so for you, you say it once and you think that's pretty obvious. But you need to understand as the coach that most of the athletes are coming after work or before work. They have so many other things going on in their brain. And this is kind of their like hour to turn their brain off. And so you need to, as a coach, be really, really good at being clear and concise with your explanations so that you don't require them to think too much.
Yeah.
Really commanding that attention.
Yep. That's definitely a good one. And yeah, like you said before, like making those corrections. It's happened where you coach that one class and you're thinking like, damn, there's like 3 or 4 athletes in this class that aren't keeping that bar close to their body when they're doing the clean. I need to fix this in the next class. Or, hey, you know what? I went over these 2 things and damn, like everyone in this class was already really, really good at that. So I'm going to just make a little self-correction. I'm going to add something else in it, you know, or I'm going to remove one of the things that everyone in this class is already really good. Or sometimes, well, actually every single time, there's completely different people, like Susie said, from one class to the next class. You might look at your class in front of you and you might see 6 people who have been doing CrossFit for 7 years and 2 people who have been doing it for 3 or 4 years, and you got like a rock star class in front of you. And then the next class rolls around and you're like, okay, I'm looking around and I got 3 people in this class who have been doing CrossFit for only like a few months. I've got a couple people who have only been in CrossFit for like a year, you know, so you're looking at like more of a beginner intermediate class now. So you need to make those self-adjustments. Okay, maybe my words need to be slightly different from my previous class to this class because these guys are more beginners. So when I say, guys, we're going to go at a fast pace or at a high intense pace, the guys who have been in CrossFit for years and years know what that is. For the guys who are a couple months in, they don't know what fast pace is. Like, what does that mean? You know, so you got to try to help educate them. Hey guys, we should be getting this work done in under a minute, right? And we should be pushing at a faster pace. So we're going to be breathing heavy. Our heart rate is going to get up there. So you need to give them a little bit more information, right? So for like making those self-adjustments from class to class and also analyzing like who's in front of me right now. Although you do have a class plan, sometimes you can use different words or different coaching cues from a different class, right? And I think those are really, really important as well. Anything else we want to add to that? I think there's one more thing that I think I want to talk about. Is there anything else?
Like in terms of just like coaching logistics?
Yeah, well, maybe we could actually talk about logistics.
Yeah.
For sure, like a big one that we focus on here is making sure that people are set up in the right area. I think old school CrossFit was like, here's the workout, set up however you want, and just 3, 2, 1, go.
Use whatever
and
space
it was just
you can
like
find.
Chaos, fight for the rig, fight for your barbell space, your box. It was just everywhere. And I think something that we do a good job on here is having logistics of like, hey, the equipment is going to be here. Or actually, for a lot of the stuff, we actually set up the gym for our athletes prior to them coming in. Like rowing machines are here,
like
boxes are here. All right, guys, when you guys go grab your barbell, we're going to face our barbells like this.
Like so, everyone faces the same way.
Like we're going to face it like this way when we transition from the box to the barbell to the rig to do our pull-ups. Like we're in a nice boom, boom, boom order, right?
You're not bumping into people.
You're not bumping into, this person now has to cross the other side of the gym to get to the pull-up bar that they want. Their barbell should have been right next to that pull-up bar because they're a shorter athlete. So little things like that I feel like are really important for making
it's the coach's job to really like run that blueprint.
Yes, exactly. And yeah, and that just makes, again, for a better client experience, right? Like when there's chaos going on, like you're trying to weave through these people doing barbell lifts and jumping over box and people maybe skipping rope and stuff. That stuff is definitely no fun as an athlete, as a client, even for a coach.
And this one I feel like comes from, like, as a coach, comes with experience. The more classes you run, the more you start to understand how to logistically organize it.
Yeah.
Because I remember when I first started coaching, I thought, oh my God, whoops, I've totally put people doing sit-ups beside someone dropping barbells. Like, what am I doing? This is not a good choice. And so you just start to be like, okay, that was a logistical nightmare. Let me rethink it.
Self-adjust.
And adjust for the next group so that there aren't barbells dropping near people lying on the floor or whatever it is.
Yeah, exactly. So logistics is a big one for sure. And yeah, I guess one of the last things is that there's two things I want to end on. One, for the coaching side of things, is like knowledge is important.
100%.
And if the more knowledge you do acquire, the more confident you're going to feel when you're speaking, and the more answers you can provide, because, you know, sometimes, like Susie said, someone asks you something and you're not sure the answer, but really, like, you want to minimize that. You do want to have an answer for most of the things.
Like my default isn't like, I don't know.
Yeah, exactly.
But I'm just saying it does happen.
It absolutely happens. But when you have more knowledge, you'll be able to explain, hey guys, when we're deadlifting, I want you to set up your feet like this. I want you to do X, Y, and Z. And you're just leading people because you have full confidence in your lift right now.
When you have answers to why we're doing something, your value in the client's eye increases a lot.
For sure.
We're not just setting up this on a deadlift because that's how a deadlift is done. We're doing it so that we're activating the right muscles. We're using our posterior chain. We're protecting our back, whatever. Yeah. And if you give people reasons why it's important to set up a deadlift in a certain way, then it's just, you're super legitimizing yourself.
Absolutely. They look at you like, oh shit, this person knows.
So like not only having the knowledge on how like a movement is performed, but like why we perform it in whatever way we perform it is super important.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Last thing I want to talk about, which I feel like is the most underrated thing that coaches forget, and I think it goes back to leading by example, is actually participating with your clients outside of your coaching hours, obviously.
Yeah, not while you're coaching.
Not while you're coaching, because
that happened to us in Australia.
Seen that where a coach just hops in with the group class. Being a part of the community and jumping in on the workouts outside of your coaching. Like get coached by other coaches. Feel that, take that.
Do the program that you're coaching. Do
the program, work out with people. People love to see that and stuff, you know? Yeah. And yeah, like being part of that crew is super important. I think a lot of especially CrossFit coaches, they coach the group class and then they go do like their own program or like an online program by themselves, and off to the corner.
Gives this like superiority vibe.
Yeah. Which if you're trying to compete in CrossFit or trying to compete at an event, like maybe you're training for a marathon while also doing CrossFit, and you need to have like your own sort of program for that, then that's one thing. But I would still think that you could do at least a couple workouts per week with your community, regardless of whether you're following like an online program or not. You know?
I agree. I think that's something that also as business owners, we were really clear about going in, is like everybody on our team needs to participate in the groups, because being part of the team and part of the community means walking the walk.
Yep.
So love that.
Yeah.
I love that.
And I know I said that was last thing, but one thing kind of creeped up into my mind here is that like we are professionals in this industry, right? Like I see too much shit online from like personal trainers or I don't know, fitness instructors. I see it less in the CrossFit side of things, and I know that might sound biased for me, but I just think that's because
we are biased, and it's fine. We're just far better than everyone else.
There's definitely some flaws with some CrossFit coaches, but you're like, at the end of the day, like, you're a professional. You're teaching good movement behavior. You're teaching good habits. Shit like being on your phone and texting people, or that shit should never happen. Dressing accordingly to actual like physical activity, demoing movements when you need to demo movements, talking and making, like you said, actually not me, but making eye contact with people, and like all those things are super important.
Really,
If you're doing like
really important.
If you're doing goofy shit, you're not really listening, you're dressed inappropriately, or you're late,
or you're whatever.
Exactly.
There's just like so many things that could just
at the end of the day, I think
tell people you don't respect them.
I think the health coach or the CrossFit coach is starting to separate itself from the typical boot camp instructor, personal trainer that's just on their phone while you're doing your sets, And I think from society's approach, and I see this because I'm on Facebook pages about like the West Island community page trying to promote. Right. No one wants to pay for a fitness instructor.
I'm looking for a fitness instructor, and my budget's $10 an hour.
Yeah, and it's like this is a profession at the end of the day. This is a career, and we are providing a ton of value to our clients, and you need to know that.
As a coach, you need to know that you are super valued, but you also need to follow through on providing that value for your clients.
Exactly. So at the end of the day, be professional, know how much value that you're providing to this, and just have fun with it. Right? Yeah. Like, that's the most important part. I go into this job every single day, although my job has kind of altered throughout my decade of CrossFit coaching. Sometimes this to me is the best job, and sometimes it's like a pinch me moment that like I get to call this a career, and I get to make this a job, and I get to hang out with amazing people, and it is really one of probably the most rewarding jobs in the entire world. Like, you're changing people's lives. You're seeing them get results they never thought they could. You're pushing them beyond limits that they said they couldn't do. They're lifting weights. They're going faster. They're hitting aesthetic goals that they've wanted for so long. You're changing their beliefs. You're bringing positive energy out of them. They're coming from their outside world and coming into this gym, and hopefully that 60-minute session is the best 60 minutes of their entire day. And it's such a rewarding job, and I'm thrilled that I decided to go down that career path.
Me too.
Yeah.
We're lucky we get to do it together on top of that.
Someone who has dabbled a little bit into the coaching side of things over the last year and a bit is going to be coach. Yeah, he's turned into quite a fantastic coach as well. He's been a pretty fit athlete at the same time, but he holds all the characteristics of a good CrossFit coach. And our client of the week is Justin. So shout out to him for just being not just someone who is incredibly fit, but holds all of the standards of everything that we've talked about, is a professional, is extremely caring, brings good vibes to everyone around him, not just when he's coaching, but also when he's working out.
I was going to say, he always brings encouraging. The vibe, whether he's in front of the group class or in the group class.
Absolutely, yeah. So it's been really fun to have him as a training partner over the last few years.
Funnest person.
It's been cool to see him coaching as well. And yeah, thanks, dude.
We know our clients love him. He's kind of like a substitute coach here. Yeah. He's more casual, and that's because he has a full-time job, and we wish we could have him more, but we take him when we can, and everyone gets so excited whenever he is coaching the group classes. So it's just so nice to have someone like so valuable like that in our community.
Almost 2 years in, he's made it client of the week.
Yeah. We love you.
All right, guys. Hopefully you guys got some good value out of this episode. Make sure you guys give us a rating and a review. And if you want to help support the podcast, down below in the link, we have
buy us a protein shake.
You can buy us a protein shake because it's my turn to work out right now while Susie coaches the class, and I'm definitely going to need a protein shake after this workout.
Oh, yes.
All right, guys. See you in the next one.
Bye.
See ya.